Tributes are flowing this morning for the 34-year-old woman shot dead in northern Queensland in an incident neighbours say has left big scars on the local community. Natalie Frahm was killed outside her home at Mackay on Wednesday night in front of two children aged 11 and 12. A 31-year-old woman who is not known to her has been charged with her murder and the attempted murder of a Good Samaritan. Antonia O'Flaherty is following the story for us from Brisbane this morning. Antonia, good morning. Tributes are flowing thick and fast for Natalie.
That's right, Michael. 34-year-old Natalie Frahm has been remembered as an absolute treasure and a beautiful person. Police allege 31-year-old man Ryan Jeffrey Cole fatally shot her while she was sitting in a parked vehicle outside a Robb Place address. Police say the two were not known to each other but lived on the same street. Her death has devastated the tight-knit community of Mackay, who've described her as a dedicated mother, a kind person, and the type of person that would really offer help to anyone in need. Now, as you said there was two children in the back of the car when this incident unfolded, and they ran. They were uninjured and ran for help to nearby residences. A 66-year-old man, James McGill, came to the aid of Miss Frahm in the car, but police allege he was also shot by Cole and was seriously injured, suffering that gunshot injuries to his sternum and his hand. He was taken to hospital and underwent surgery but is now in a stable condition. So police have charged Ryan Jeffrey Cole with murder and attempted murder, and he appeared in court yesterday and was remanded in custody.
OK, Antonia, thank you so much. Well, the cost of living crunch is seeing a big surge in demand for the services of food charities around Australia, with a growth in the range and type of people seeking help to put food on the table for their families. Bridge is out this morning at the main depot for one of those food crisis services, Food Bank Victoria. Bridge, this is a very serious issue and an issue that's getting much, much worse as the weeks go by.
Going to be a hive of activity behind me as many charity partners start arriving to distribute this food to schools, organisations, families in need. This is amazing work being done. We're really on the front line of this crisis, and I want to introduce now Dave McNamara, who's the CEO of Food Bank Victoria. Dave, great to be talking with you this morning.
Thank you.
It's cold in Melbourne. We're in the middle of winter.
Cold.
You see this every single day. What does this crisis look like?
Well, for most people, it's invisible. They don't see it. It's carrying on in homes across the state and across Australia. It's at dining tables where there's no food. It's kids going to bed early. It's parents saying, I'll eat later. It's that silent disaster. I mean, we all saw the Black Summer bushfires where you could see and taste and smell the impact. Here, no one's tasting anything because there's no food on the table. And it's 65,000 people here every day in a disaster scenario for them.
And like that all around the country. I mean, that's just 65,000 people here in Victoria, but you know it's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere. It's over 250,000 meals every day across Australia through food banks to charity partners across the country.
What does it look like now, today, where we are in June 2024, compared to this time last year, for example?
Well, last year it was 50,000 meals a day, and we were saying it's the equivalent of a grand final every 2 days at the MCG. Now it's 67,000. I mean, that's a dramatic increase. That's over a 30% increase in 1 year. We've got too many people ringing us saying we used to be able to support you financially, now we actually need your support with food.
Just tell us a little bit more about that. That is staggering. So people who were once upon a time donating and helping you out are now calling you up needing help themselves.
Yeah, more and more every day. And it's mums and dads across the urban fringe of Melbourne, inner city, regional. There's no one that's not impacted by this. You know, used to say, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and you could rightly say, look, predominantly this is a problem of people on the street. But it's now people in your street. You can't make any judgment. You don't know what's going on behind that front door.
What impact has the rate rises had and the soaring cost of rent on the people that you help?
That's what's driving it, really. It's cost of food and it's cost of accommodation. I mean, it's those basics, shelter and food. And unfortunately, they're two things that everyone needs to be able to thrive. Now we're struggling to survive, too many of us. And that's...
Yeah, and you're also struggling to get the food and the supplies that you need. Tell us more about that, Dave.
Well, it's not just people that are struggling to afford food. all our food system is the same way. We've got industry not being, they're struggling with the cost of goods as well, so they carry less inventory. So that means that there's less donations for Food Bank, which means Food Bank has to buy more food. Here in Victoria, that's $5 million of food this year compared to a couple of years ago, $100,000 on food. So it's the same impact everyone's feeling. So while we rely on the community to help us financially to buy that food, more and more people are now saying, I can't financially feed my own family and I need your help.
For Australians who might be watching who are in a privileged position to be able to help, what do you need this winter?
To be blunt, it's funds. We need money. We have to buy food. As I said, the donations just aren't there. So every dollar donated is 2 meals created across Australia. So here in Victoria, that means we can source the food, get it in, and then get it to Mildura, get it to Mallacoota, and get it on those tables across Victoria and across Australia.
It really breaks my heart to hear, like you said just earlier, that kids are going to bed earlier because they haven't had dinner, so they go to bed. Or parents might say, I'll eat later, but they may not, or they're going to school hungry. What does that say about the kind of society we're becoming, Dave?
I would say that's a great question that everyone should ask themselves. What does that say about us when we can't even feed our children? Where are our priorities? We run the largest school breakfast program across Australia. So that's over 1,000 schools in Victoria. Every morning we've got a school breakfast program running. So we've seen an increase in the last year of over 30% in distribution through that school breakfast program. That's more and more kids turning up. So I would say, is that what we want as a society here in Australia, that our kids can't be fed?
Yeah, I don't think so. You do amazing work and we're really, really grateful to be with you here today. And we know many people watching are going to want to help this winter. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. No worries, thanks.
So there you go, Michael. Really pause for thought hearing some of those figures from Dave and some of those stories here at Food Bank Victoria.
Yeah, they really strike at the heart, don't they, Bridge? Thank you so much. Great conversation. To other news this morning, Western Australian Nationals MP Louise Kingston has used parliamentary privilege to accuse the state's opposition leader and Nationals leader, Shane Love, of relentless bullying and harassment. The member for the South West made the allegations in Parliament before announcing she'll quit the party to contest the next election as an independent.
Unfortunately, I've been the victim of relentless bullying and harassment by the leader of the Nationals. I raised it with others and addressed it directly with him. I believe the situation had been resolved, so therefore did not pursue a formal process through the party. I have no issue with any other members of Parliament who are at all times helpful and supportive.
In a statement, Shane Love said while it was disappointing Miss Kingston resigned from the WA Nationals, he thanked her for her service. 240,000 birds on a poultry farm in Sydney's northwest will be culled after a bird flu outbreak. 8,000 birds have already died from the outbreak itself so far at the Hawkesbury farm. Testing has shown it's a different strain to the current outbreak in Victoria. New South Wales Agriculture Minister Tara Moriarty says consumers should not be worried about eating poultry or eggs, as both are safe with cooking. Construction is beginning today on the Hunter-class frigate program in Adelaide. It's been 6 years since the British warship design was first selected by the former Turnbull government. Earlier this year, the government confirmed it would only construct 6 of the warships instead of 9, while also acquiring a fleet of smaller general-purpose frigates. Nurses have raised serious concerns about the treatment of children voluntarily admitted with mental health conditions at Launceston's General Hospital. The Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation claims kids are being housed in a locked medical unit. Secretary Emily Shepherd says members have raised the issue with the hospital for months. The Tasmanian Health Department has been contacted for a response. Stonehenge's summer solstice is underway just after a day after protesters sprayed it with orange paint. The paint has been removed and English Heritage says there appears to be no lasting damage to Stonehenge. The sun set about half an hour ago on the UNESCO World Heritage Site, with those visiting staying until sunrise. Sad news this morning. Canadian actor Donald Sutherland, whose career spans 7 decades, is dead at the age of 88. Sutherland starred in films such as MASH, Ordinary People and, of course, more recently, the Hunger Games series. His son, Kiefer, announced his father's death, saying he personally thinks Donald Sutherland was one of the most important actors in the history of film.